I can't pinpoint exactly when this happened, but sometime in 2009, I became an insomniac. It always started the same way. I'd hoped this night would be different as I made my bed. I'd lay my pillows down slightly differently, perhaps more invitingly. I tried to calm my thoughts, but they wouldn't stop racing. Would this night be the one? Would I finally be able to fall asleep like most people I knew, comfortably? Or would it start off with mundane tasks, checking emails, catching up with friends on Facebook, and finally discovering a blog or Tumblr so fascinating that I had to read 16 pages of it at one go before realizing that the rays of the sun were filtering through my window and yet another night had passed, sleepless. Would I watch Sleepless in Seattle and chuckle at the irony of the situation? Or would I join millions of people who'd managed to calm their thoughts and enjoy after months a night of peaceful, uninterrupted sleep? As I tossed and turned, flipping my pillow over to its cold side so I could rest my head, I asked myself the same question I'd been asking myself for quite some time now. What would it take for me to fall asleep tonight, and where did it all begin? The answers, unsurprisingly, were many. Was it the fact that I just moved lock, stock, and barrel to a foreign country? Or was it the drunk student below my apartment block, screaming out sweet nothings into the cold English air? I guess in the simplest way, the answer lay in one fact. This was not home. I'd moved to Sheffield to do my master's in broadcast journalism, and things were going swimmingly. By day, I was attending classes, making new friends, and discovering a world completely unknown to me. I was drinking endless cups of tea, using phrases like the perfidious Albion, and slowly but surely, the Wetherspoons in the city centre was becoming my local. It was the first time I'd lived away from home, and in a city primarily populated by students, I was discovering a whole new life. I was prepared for this in so many ways. I was going to keep in touch with my friends, my family, my partner. I was going to write a blog about my experiences, and I'd finally get on the Twitter. What I hadn't prepared for, though, was the silence. The silence that settles in on every city and hamlet in the United Kingdom. It's a strong, damp, and thorough silence. No rumble of thunder in the distance, no rickshaw growling by, no confused roosters. Now, I'm a Bombay girl through and through. I've lived my entire life in 7 bungalows, Andheri West, on a main road, JP Road, for those of you who may know it. I'm one of those people who notice when a pothole is filled and when a new one, 500 meters down the road, makes its sparkling debut. I have the distinction of being the only girl to get a smile from the grumpy man who owns the grocery store across the street. I always say that 7 bungalows is in that sweet spot, right between the aspiring models and actors of Lokhandwala and the aspiring directors and casting agents of Versova. As I grew up, I spent more and more time sitting up late at night, either to have text messaging conversations, to sneak my last cigarette of the day, to cram for an exam the next morning, or eventually to meet impossible deadlines set by cranky clients. There's a magic to the night, an intensity, a drama, where anything seems possible. Contradictions seem irrelevant, and risks seem attractive and worth taking. Everyone connects with different aspects of a city. Places, faces, food, smells, perhaps even a combination of these. But for me, sound plays a critical role in turning me into an emotional, blubbering mess of nostalgia. My street, so vibrant by day and usually littered with drunken revelers spilling out of the lounge next door in the evening, took on an entirely different character post 1 a.m. You'd hear the high-pitched giggles of girls as they piled into their car to get home, or the sound of motorbikes rushing towards Versova. Dogs, and sometimes packs of dogs, would strut up and down the divider, laying claim to their territory. And lorries would pull up to stock the little stores across from my house. The faint rumble of these lorries was the most familiar. They'd trundle up to the stores, and there would always be two of them that came by every night. The first was filled with coconuts for the nariyal pani wala to sell to the fitness enthusiasts. The second was a milkman's truck, delivering fresh half and 1 liter pouches of milk to the coconut sellers' neighbors, for the same athletes who'd been reminded by their spouses to get some milk home that morning. The coconut truck always rattled to a stop at 3 a.m. sharp. The doors would clang, the delivery guy would mutter some orders, branches would be slashed, and a pyramid would be constructed. Then, the truck would move on. It was only at this point that I'd finally feel sleep begin to overcome me. And that's when I knew it was time to go to bed. To say goodnight on text, stub out my cigarette, shut my laptop, and of course, put my textbooks under my pillow, to absorb whatever knowledge I could as I slept. I had one of these epiphanies befitting a clear, star-filled night or a wistful bonfire on a beach. I'd never given these sounds the importance they deserved until I didn't have access to them anymore. Immediately from my bed in South Yorkshire, my mind went into overdrive. I began thinking of every little sound I connected with Bombay. The chug-chug of the wheels of the train, the squeak-squeak of the handles as you held onto them for dear life, the squelch of thousands of shoes traversing the steps at Andheri station, the disapproving of someone who just needed a little more space, the ch-ch of one friend calling another unique only to this maddening city, the disapproving of a rickshaw driver who refused to go anywhere. Once in a fit of anger, I said, "To kya Kashmir jaoge?" To which he said, the auntie ball of kids playing in the park near my house, and the subsequent ring of a cash register as I bought a chocolate bar because some kid had just called me auntie. The ring of a bottle opener against soft drinks on a beach. The dull sizzle of my favorite dish at my favorite restaurant. The sound of the waves hitting the shore against the sliver of beach that I could see from my window if I angled my head just right. Those beggars in the train that come and sing to you, Pardesi, Pardesi Jana Nahi is my all-time favorite song. Meet me after this and I will sing it for you, I promise. Once when I was in college in Churchgate, I needed to get back home to Andheri. I was in Jai Hind. My dad had dropped me to college that morning because he's adorable like that, but I forgot my wallet. And I had not made a single friend that day. So I went to Churchgate, sat down at platform number 1, rolled up my dupatta first, sat right next to the Bhelpuri wala, and sang until I made the 13 rupees I required to get home. Certain songs transport me to very key moments in my life. The first time I heard Green Day and thought, this is rock. I would listen to that to shake myself out of a dull stupor. Or the first time I heard Moonlight Sonata, which inspired in me emotions I never thought I could feel. Jerk It Out by the Caesars always reminds me of endless hours spent rehearsing for various inter- and intra-collegiate festivals. But what never leaves me is the sound of that truck. I don't think I'll ever be able to explain if I knew it by the signature squeal of its brakes or because of an extremely well-tuned body clock. But what I do know is that I search for it unfailingly every single night, even in a place where coconut trees can't take root. So here I am, staring at a ceiling in a foreign country, and all I can do to finally fall asleep, to find some sense of peace and comfort, is to try and recreate the incredible orchestra of sound that is Bombay. A mesh of human, animal, and machine buzz that is our song, my song, and its own unique, beautiful song. Maybe this city is in my DNA so deeply that taking away its soundtrack is like taking away a sweet guitar solo from any real rock song worth its salt. Maybe what I love most about the noise is that it reminds me that I'm in there somewhere, a single note mixing in with all the others, leaving my mark, like a mark you leave on a place without ever having touched it. A brush of sound on a street, a wall, a bike, a friend. Ever since I came back, things haven't been the same. Strains of ambient music take the place of what used to be the sounds of my street. Perhaps there are too many thoughts crowding my brain. Perhaps not enough. But for those of you who are able to fall asleep quite literally in the blink of an eye, I envy you. Because I need the sound of a coconut truck to lull me to sleep. And that rolled around about an hour and a half ago. Thank you.